Check out thechosenprime.com in the link in the description below for this and other great items. Alright, welcome everyone to another Radio Free Cybertron review. This time, it's a masterpiece review, and today we have Star Saber, or Saber, and V-Star, and lots of parts. I always like to go through and show you how it comes out of package and go to the transformation from there. Well, this particular masterpiece, MP24, has a lot of parts, so this is exactly how it comes in the packaging. I haven't touched anything yet. Go ahead and show off some of the parts. We have the shield. We have two little clear blue translucent pieces, and they are for the stand, which we'll get into later. Clip them together real quick. They only go one way, so you can't clip that backwards. Just put that off to the side. We also have one hilt, which is for the smaller sword, and the sword just clips in there. And we'll unclip that. There's a reason we're going to unclip that. We'll put this off to the side too. We also have a very long handle for the bigger sword, and there's a piece that's part of Saber that will clip onto this, and then you clip the longer chrome sword blade on. And we also have a gun. Just a plain, gray plastic gun. The handle does flip down for Star Saber, so he can hold it in his hand. Or I guess Saber can actually hold that too. And then we have Star Saber's helmet. These antennae, you can move them freely when you turn them down. They only have two positions because the face mask is actually, or the helmet is actually getting in the way. So you can't really angle them out straight. You can try, but they only go about that far actually. This one doesn't want to do it at all. But yeah, that's why when you clip this on top of V-Star, it only points forward. Let me see if I can angle these down anymore. Nope. And there's a click point also on these antennae where you turn these, and you can even probably hear it click into place. But anyway, for V-Star's mode, V-Star's vehicle mode, clip that on, and then there's this raised area right here that the helmet sits around, just like so. And here is the Brainmaster. You can see how very tiny he is, but he has a ton of paint apps on him. Everywhere paint apps. And he's probably about half the size of Daniel. So I don't understand. If you can put all these paint apps on this little guy, why can't you give the humans eyes? Come on, Takara. I mean, he has a little tiny blue visor. Try and get that. Yeah, that visor is blue, and it's amazing. On this little tiny guy. He's roughly the size of my pinky. And I have big hands, so he's tiny. So I wanted to compare him to Daniel, but I don't have a Daniel or a Spike laying around. I do have this, just to give a size comparison, and you can see he's a lot smaller. His head is probably 1/4 the size of his head. So if you can get paint apps on that little tiny figure, you should be able to paint eyes on these guys. But Dr. Wu does have a solution for that. Some heads that you can purchase that actually are more detailed. But I was impressed. I was impressed at this guy. He does have arms that go up and down and legs that go up and down. And the reason his legs go up and down is if you take Saber here, we'll flip out these wings, get him in his proper vehicle mode. Really like the colors on this guy. And that's probably one of the reasons I ordered this figure is, well, it's a masterpiece too. I don't want to have a hole in my masterpiece collection. But, this cockpit does not want to open. There we go. I did not want to have a hole in my masterpiece collection. And also the colors on this guy are really nice. So, he will just sit right in there to be able to pilot Saber. Cockpit closes up very nicely. Saber also does have landing gear. And they just flip out on the bottom. Just have to make sure his whole foot doesn't flip out. There we go. That was pretty tight. And then on the front here, under the nose, and I'm flipping it out the wrong way, that is also landing gear. So, put him off to the side for now. And now to the big body, the V-Star, I think is what they're calling this in the instructions. Flip out these wings. Flip these up. Again, this is how it comes packaged. So that's why we're going from this mode. And then this guy also does have landing gear. Flip out the feet. I like how the landing gear on the back is actually, almost like a plane. It's the 4 wheels instead of the 2. Then up here on the top, you can also flip out these panels. And he does roll. Oh, wheel flip back in. Yeah, these wheels don't really want to stay when you roll them. Yeah, so on mine it doesn't roll very well. Because those wheels on the front just want to flip in. But it's nice that they included landing gear on this guy. There's even some detailing underneath here, some vents that you can't see because I'm off camera. There's some vents up here when you open these panels up. So I'm just gonna put the landing gear back in and close that up. And then also, if you want, as you saw, I put the head on. You can leave the head off if you want. But I have no idea how this was in the show because I've never seen the show. So I really don't have any attachment to this character. But here we go. And then of course the sword pieces, which I've already shown. Then also he comes with his card, MP24 Cybertron Commander Star Saber. On the back, bunch of tech specs, everything's pretty high. Don't know what any of them are, but it's good. I guess that's why he's the commander. You get your other card, or thin piece of paper. I don't know if this is advertisement or what, but there's that. And I really also like the instruction booklet on this because it makes it look like a comic style. You have the masterpiece right underneath the eye, Transformers More Than Meets the Eye, and the instructions. See, that's where you have the V-Star, the Brain, Saber, Shield, Saber Blades, lists everything out for you. There's a nice bio or story that I cannot read, and all of the instructions. A couple pages of them. And then on the back, just some the previous Star Saber, and that looks like the masterpiece, but I'm not sure what that is. It's close. It's something. There you have it. Let's go ahead and get into transformation on Saber. Get these out of the way. Then here you have Saber. Let's do a size comparison real quick too. Let's see what I have laying around that we can size this up with. So here he is with one of my favorite jets right now. This is Silverbolt. And then just to get a size comparison, he is pretty darn near close to Voyager size. Definitely bigger than Deluxe. They are pretty close together. So we'll also do a size comparison with him in robot mode as soon as we go and get him transformed. First thing you want to do, we're going to pop out the Brainmaster. I don't know if he has another name. Because in the instructions, the only thing it says is Brain, so we'll call him Brian for now. Close the cockpit up. Take the legs. Pull the legs down. Actually pop up. Kind of reveal these vents and these details. Split the legs. Fold the wings back. Flip the landing gear in. And then flip the feet out. Very simplistic transformation. Some really tight joints. Some ratcheted. Flip the arms up. Or slide them up. And then we're going to extend the arms. Pop out the hand. And then these kind of rock out and down. And again, this is pretty tight too. There we go. Same thing on this side. Pull them out. Pull the forearm down. That reveals the elbow joint. Everything like that. These wings can come around here and just fold onto the back. And then we have to do something that a lot of you are not going to like. We're going to have to parts form and pull the front of the jet off. Now also, the front of the jet is one of the pieces that the sword clips into uh, for the larger guy's sword. So, for Star Saber's sword. And that is, you open up the front of the jet, and then this just slots in to that slot right there. And that slots in like that. It even has a hinge in the back. You can pull this out a little bit. That way it stays tight at the front. So, probably getting a little ahead of ourselves. I think that's all I've been doing this weekend is reviews, so there we go. And then we're just going to clip this onto his arm. I know it clips on. There we go. Flip that down to clip that onto his arm. And you can choose either arm. This is the arm I'm at. So that's where I'm going to clip it in at. So, and there you have Saber with no face. So, all you need to do to give him his full face. I notice these wings. These wings are kind of in the way for him to stand up. So, not sure if I'm doing something wrong. I'm going to check the instructions again, but it seems like you kind of have to lean him back to get him to stand. You flip them forward, he can stand a little bit better, so maybe they are supposed to be flipped forward. But anyway, to get his face to appear, you must take Brian, the Brainmaster, and flip this down, and inside there's a little seat and a peg. And there's a little peg on the back of Brain that you just plug him in. And then when you close this door, because that's plugged in, that's what causes the face to slide up. And a nice face sculpt on him. And you would think because that face sculpt, because of the face sliding up, that he wouldn't have head articulation, but he still does retain. He can turn his head about that far, which is pretty good. No up and down, but you do at least get that. So I did go ahead and check the instructions, and it does say on this guy, you want to angle these back, which does not really allow him to stand straight up. So what they show in the instructions is to kind of give him a little bit of a Michael Jackson lean, like that. And that will allow him to stand up, but it does kind of make the figure a little front heavy. So might actually be better if he leans back a little bit. Yeah, he really can't stand straight, because if you stand him perfectly straight, he's got that front lean to him, but that also can be alleviated by just splitting the legs a little bit more. And for size comparison, here he is with Silverbolt. and see how they compare. Silverbolt doesn't want to stand up right now, but they're pretty close. He's definitely bigger than your average deluxe. Here he is with drag strip. So right in the middle of the two, but closer to a Voyager. Go ahead and put him off to the side for now. And then one of the things I do like on this is there's actually storage for the swords. The bigger one goes on this side, and the smaller one goes on this side. Oh, I forgot to make his sword. Yeah, that's a good idea. So we'll take that one little accessory piece. It has a peg on it. I'm not really sure what that peg's for. There's no pegs on this guy to peg it on somewhere. It does open up, but that's for the transformation of the sword. And you open this up, and there is a little slot right there. And that slot is used for his thumb. So you just take him and slide that in. Make sure his fist doesn't close on you. There we go. And now he can wield his sword. He can also hold the shield if you want him to, but it's not really meant for him. It's a little bit too big. It's like a full body shield for him. But there is that. Pop that off real quick. Close his fist up. And we'll just pop this sword out. Again, his sword is pretty tight once you get it in his hand. And I guess you could always store the sword like that if you want. But we'll just pop that off for now. Get him out of the way. And then come up to V-Star. I think there is another transformation too. Where you get this guy back into his robot mode or vehicle mode. And he will just slide into the big hole on the front. Getting these legs slide in here is a little bit, takes a little bit of doing. There we go. You can leave the Brainmaster in there if you want. Clip that back on the front. Flip that back down. Probably should have did that before. Slid that on. Clip. There you go. Fold the hands in, fold the fingers in, fold the hand up. Bring that back up. Bring the arm down. There's a little peg on the end of the hand. Right there. That will just plug into the side. Just like that. And then what you can do is you can take this, open this up, set that like that, bring the camera up just a little bit. It sits in there. And you push it back. It clips in. You can close these panels back up. And now you have the jet out of the front of V-Star. So there's that. Again, with not having a real attachment to this figure, I don't really know. Don't really know. I guess that's cool. He kind of angles up. You can't use his landing gear, so you would still have to use the landing gear of V-Star, which isn't that great. But let's go ahead and unclip him. Pop him out. And then we'll do the transformation on V-Star. And on V-Star, we'll just real quick, put all these back. Just pull the legs out at the top. The other one pulled out fine. And then the leg just locks into place if you want to unlock it. There's a little button right at the top that you can press. It just allows you to unlock it. Otherwise, you can't rotate it back. But come down here, flip the feet out. And then at the same time, when you flip the feet out, you kind of want to push those jet thrusters back. They act as his heel. Same thing on this side. It does not want to come. There we go. Once you get that untapped from his hand was actually backwards, so I don't know if that was causing any problems. Maybe that's why it was a little tight. And then same thing on the feet. Bring the foot out. Straighten this thruster. Thruster is die cast. Feel it's colder. And that's actually, this piece is all die cast too. And he stands really well. Really good feet on this guy. And then to give him his knees back, just need to rotate this piece of plastic, his upper thigh, around, and that'll give him his knee articulation. Same thing on this side. And the arms, they just pull down. And then this one had to rotate around, the other one did not. Like, almost starting to think they put two left hands on mine. But now that I've flipped everything around, it looks okay. So, and his arms do articulate out. so you can get a bunch of nice poses with him. He has hardly any ankle tilt, but he still stands well even without the little tiny ankle tilt. There's just That's about all you get. uh Reviewing figures I know nothing about. I'll just leave him alone for a second. Come on the side here. Take the Brainmaster, or Saber. You're going to extend the legs out. Bend the legs up. And in. These little bits flip around. Straighten out his wing pieces. And also detach that. These wing pieces come to the back, I believe. And then we just have to slide him in just like he did in jet mode. And we'll just pop him in there. Just like so. And his chest came undone again. And there you have Star Saber with his very small head. Let's try and bring the camera up a little bit for you guys. And then you can take his head, you can either have this articulate around and try and push it down over his head, or what I like to do is just pop it off and place it down on the head. Flip his antenna up. And there you have Star Saber. And his arms are very posable. They can go out about that far. They can even come in if you want to give him like a strong guy pose. Pop those back into place. Come around here to the back, and this will flip around. Flip that up just like so. And then this panel flips up also. Right on his back there. And this chest keeps coming undone for me. And the wings, you can angle them back if you want. I kind of personally like them out. And then I forgot the stand. The stand just clips onto his crotch right there. That way in vehicle mode you can pose him. You take the shield and you just unslide the handle, and then the shield slides in on this. To give him a stand. Okay. Or if you want, he can just fly through the air. As you see, he does have an ab crunch. So it's always harder to review a figure you have nothing, you know nothing about. But there he is. Let's go ahead and form his sword. Not the blazing sword, just the regular sword. Pull that out from his back. Take the additional hilt, just like so. Slide this in. Not sure if it matters which way. Open the front again. Slide in the sword. And just close up the front. Just like that. And then he can hold it in his hand. And you can get a lot of nice poses with him, with the sword, just because of the amount of arm articulation he has. Also, the shield does look much better with him. His arm is a little droopy, so can't really hold this hold the shield up. But yeah, let's see. A screwdriver right here. Let's see if tightening that will help. That's pretty tight. Tightened a little bit. They did not tighten much. And he still cannot. Yeah. Yeah, so it doesn't look like tightening the screw is going to help with this guy at all. And then the last weapon is his gun. And with the use of his fingers, he can hold that just fine. And that's actually, I think, how I would end up posing him, since the shield... Since he can't seem to hold his shield up. And there is storage for the gun on his back. Flip that back down. You can put that in whatever way you want. Facing down or facing up. And then the sword for Star Saber can also peg on his back right there. You can even, if you want, have him reaching for his sword. When you pose him. Which again, that I do like the look of that. And there is one thing I didn't show off. Thank you. Is this sword can also be held by Saber. The way to do that, we'll pop out this handle, open this front piece up, and then this hilt just flips around, and this closes back up. and that way Saber can hold it himself. It's kind of too big for him. He has the smaller sword anyway, so I really don't see a need to do this, but the option is there if you want to do it. Turn this back into his sword. There we go. And for a size comparison, we'll bring in one of the other big bots we have, Ultra Magnus. And he is bigger than Ultra Magnus, which I was kind of surprised about. I didn't think we'd get a much bigger masterpiece than Magnus, but Star Saber definitely outdid Magnus. So I don't think Magnus should have been any bigger though, because that would just be ridiculous if he was as big as Star Saber. Get him out of the way. Here Star Saber is with Prime, and you can see he is a lot bigger than Prime. Even though Prime still is the real leader of the Autobots, not this guy. But that's all we have. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.